Preparing live stream. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday for the Pro Week in Review. We've got special guest Derrike Cope. As you can see down on the screen, he is here. We want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors real quick. Richmar Florist, Morgan Vans Racing, Racing Jason, Appalachian Howler Hunters, Milner Transport, B3 Ranch, Eldridge Skating, Wrecking Racing Podcast, Peak, Penguin City Beer, Charlie Langenstein, Brian Daly Designs, Fast Lap Podcast, Chrissy and Deb, Prospect Motorsports, The Lineup Barbershop, Seat Time Driving School, which gave us awesome championship prizes, and Derrike Peoples Motorsports. Mike, how we doing?
Oh, very good. Thank you, Bobby. Yeah, just to touch real quick. Kyle, congratulations. You won the championship of the Truck Series last night. Great racing, guys. I'm proud of you and everything that you've done. And now, yes, now we get to the privilege of the one and only Derrike Cope, the 1990 Daytona winner. I mean, we're glad to have him with us tonight.
Yeah, how we doing, Derrike?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you guys having me on.
So, Mike, I'm gonna
Yep, go ahead.
I'm gonna let you start start talking to Derrike. I gotta send out all these invites real quick.
No, that's no problem. Actually, the biggest thing, my curiosity, Derrike, was when to know it going from the 1990 car, how that thing was like awful. There was no fuel injection, no electronics, no nothing, and now going to looking at the new car that you worked in to the 15, which you obviously are going to start the 500. The difference. What do you think? I mean, is it better, ride better, drive better? What?
Well, I think, the biggest difference is, obviously, is that the cars, the aerodynamics are way different. The cars were off the ground, a great deal more. There's a lot of air going underneath the car. You're basically running a restrictor plate, that was normally aspirated, in contrast to now running EFI and having a fuel management system and, a lot more electronics. The cars have no ride height rules, so they're on the deck. We have a splitter now, and, the cars are so much more, the platform is the key. Is keeping the platform in the car, keeping whatever, pitch attitude you have in the car to maintain what you have for downforce front and rear and keep the balance in the car. In contrast to 1990, of course, there's a lot of air going underneath the car. The valence was what we had, a valence, and a lot of, just a lot different. The cars had a lot more excessive movement in them, and they moved around a lot. And, I think these cars now are, much more rigid and they seem to, kind of like ride like a go-kart, so much, they just kind of, they don't have a lot of roll moment changes in the front or anything, the cars are pretty stable from that standpoint, again, that's the biggest things, to start with,
All right, Bobby, what do you got, buddy?
All right, so my first question is, we had Quinn on the show last week. What do you think of Starcom's performance last year with Quinn being a rookie?
Well, I think certainly we knew it was going to be a difficult task for him, because, he really was, a raw rookie. He really didn't have experience at all the racetracks. So he was going to some places for the very first time, and quite a daunting task for a young man, really. And to know that he's not going to get any practice. There was no qualifying, no practice or anything, except for right at the beginning of the year. So I felt like that he did a really creditable job for not having the experience and going out there and having to lay it on the line and, find the speed and try to stay in the, in the mix, especially because the way these races are right now with the stage races, it really, your fate is sealed right in that first competition caution to, the first stage. So it's really imperative that you get off the mark well and that you can, keep enough speed going where, car will fire off and you don't get lapped. And I think those are the things we really had to work on and dwell on. And, he kept pushing and trying to get better. And, we had good days and bad days. But, if you really look at it, the long and the short of it, I feel like that, by the end of the year, we had some good runs. I felt like Texas really was probably his best performance, where he was wide open 3 and 4 and really out of the gas partially in 1 and 2 for a long majority of the race. An issue early with the power steering failure, but he really did run a very nice race at the end of that deal. And I was really, I think that was a real turning point for him. And hopefully with SMT and all the things that we learned there, that he can go over that data and we can find a balance in the car again this year moving forward that will allow him to emulate that. And if he does that, then I think we're going to be, a lot better than we were.
So we got Dwayne Franklin, we got Steven in the thing. Dwayne saying hi, boss.
I knew he was coming.
Long time,
like, I'm getting
long time no see. Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie's in here too, I think.
Yeah.
The next question we have is, can you tell us about your duties at Starcom? Because I know a lot of the guys are wondering what all you do besides being general manager.
Right.
Well, last year I was pretty much involved in all the purchasing. I mean, I pretty much make all the decisions on anything that's purchased for the organization. So it really runs by my budget, and so. A lot of that is really about overseeing the budget, trying to stay within, our means and, keep the team as productive as we can, with the tire bills and, the actual competitiveness of the car itself. I was doing all the shock absorbers last year as well. So, I had that responsibility as well. And then, would work on the pull down rig and setting all the gaps and working with the car that way. But again, from a GM standpoint, really, you kind of take care of all the guys and make sure that everybody is doing what needs to be done and trying to implement, an infrastructure where that we can kind of get weeks ahead, where we're not overworking the guys, overtaxing the system. And, that's where I've just worked hard on trying to get, a lot of hardware because we don't have a lot of people. So, that seems to have worked for us. And I felt like last year we were really on top of things, and that's carried over through the winter. And nobody's really had to work late, and they've had some vacation. And it's been a good winter for us, and both from the standpoint of getting time off and also getting the work done. So that's kind of what I do. I oversee pretty much every facet of it. I have hired a new gentleman, Sean Studer, to do all the shock absorbers now. So I don't have to worry about that because I know that the next gen's coming. So, my job is going to change come February once all the vendor and supplier lists come. My job will be to start putting together, purchase orders and spreadsheets on the next gen car and how we meet those demands and how we get ready for, creating a manual and a working manual and how to, come up with processes on torque specking and all that stuff for these new cars. So my job is going to change a bit once the next gen, process begins. So that's going to be a daunting task for a small group like ourselves.
Actually, I'm going to jump in here real quick, Bobby. That just brought up a real quick question. Now, do you think that with a new gen car to what's been running now, do you think that the cost effect is helping the smaller teams, or is it you know what I'm saying? Is it good or bad? Vice versa.
Well, I think with some of the things that NASCAR has done, with regard to implementing certain guidelines and parameters as far and single source suppliers and all the car being the same for everyone, it does change the complexion somewhat. I think it's a little early really to see we know what the cost of the car is going to be relative to within reason. We just don't know about what's going to transpire as far as like how long the parts will go cycle wise, what kind of hits the cars will take and how that'll affect the transaxle and the uprights and the CV joints and all those things. So a lot of variables that really we don't really know or have any real clue on how that's going to transpire, and that'll be what elevates the cost. It also has a full belly pan. So, it's going to be really important to maintain the integrity of that so that you're not tearing that off the race car all the time, because that, will keep the downforce in the car and keep the balance. So, there's so many things we just, are so new and we don't know about. And until we really get our hands on some parts and pieces, we really won't be able to really, I think, put, quantifiable numbers together.
Right. Go ahead, Bobby.
All right. Can you tell us how you started in racing?
Yeah, I had aspirations to play baseball and got hurt in college, and I had a knee injury, a complete blowout, so I really, knew that there was no way I could do that. My father had an engine rebuilding facility, Koch Brothers Racing Engines, and he was doing a lot of engines for the West Coast Grand National cars and the late model sportsman cars on the West Coast. And some of the guys would even come back to Daytona with our engines and stuff. So I obviously had interest in it and had gone to a lot of races. And then my brother was driving first, my brother Darren. And I started helping him because I was in a cast, and I was kind of helping him and kind of got interested in the thing. And then, went to work for my dad, and, one thing led to another. And I ended up driving the car that Darren had worked on, and just fell in love with it. And at that point, started my my venture towards, a career in stock car racing.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So we just found out not too long ago that you're racing in the 2021 Daytona 500. Tell us how excited you are to go back 31 years since you've won it. I mean, this is what, your last hurrah at Daytona?
Yeah, it's probably my last hurrah overall. I think, really, this was really kind of a surprise. It's a kind of a gift, really. My car owners, Mike and Matt Kohler and Bill Wolleman, and my wife Alicia, collectively, had this idea and concept, and they came up with it. And they took it to Rick Ware to see if they could procure a charter, and we would put together all the racing equipment, and that they would run the race for us. So it was a surprise, and certainly was something that took me back. Obviously, because I really kind of had resigned myself that I probably would never do much more. I thought Darlington would probably have been it. But Daytona's always had obviously a special place in my heart, and I love restrictor plate racing. I love super speedway racing. I always have. Feel like I have a good feel for the air and what my needs are there. So to have one more shot going back there with a car that we started from scratch with and worked hard on since October, I feel really good about the opportunity to go down there and have a lot of fun. And I think that's really, for me, that's what it's about. Is I've always never really tried to put a lot of expectation on things. Restrictor plate racing, it's one of those places where you really just can't go in with any preconceived ideas. You got to take it as it comes, and hopefully make right choices, and people help you position yourself to make people have to use you, and hopefully we can do that and have a really good outcome. I mean, and if we don't, then we'll just wish we did. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really getting more and more excited about it. Now I just got my seat pour back today, and so I'm gonna do all my final fitting and measuring this next couple of days. And every time I sit in the car, I sit there for a long period of time, and just kind of get a feel for it and get more excited about it every time I get closer. So 2 weeks to go here, and get a shot at it.
So are the cars more comfortable from 1990 to now, from sitting in those seats?
Well, it's different, I mean, the one thing that I was really accustomed to was really being able to look around in a car, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you really could move your head, and, you could see a lot more, and, you weren't really confined, as much, and obviously through the latter years, I've driven these cars and they're much more confining and more of a cocoon, and, you don't have a lot of, mobility inside the car, which is probably a good thing. But at the same time, it's just like like a little cocoon and like a little cockpit there, and I like that feeling. when it gets warm, I can almost go to sleep. So it's just
that's not always good.
yeah, a lot of testing. There's a lot of snoozing there, but yeah, it's a good feel. I mean, I'm really comfortable in the car, and it's just the belts, the way the belts are now, and the the little knee knockers and things like that. You just those are a little uncomfortable, really. But once you get going, this kind of leaves you.
Well, no, you think about it. I mean, you're not used to it. I mean, you back in the '90s, they didn't have that. They didn't have the shields on the bottom of the heels. They didn't have the Hans device. They didn't have any of that stuff that you guys were accustomed to back then. So I can imagine that the adjustment of being that confined in a cocoon can be, your eyesight's lost. You lose some of your mobility to look around, and no, I can definitely I can understand the adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to it because I've done it a lot of years since then when all those were implemented, but I still would prefer to have just a little bit more movement, so I mean, I've had some vicious wrecks, and prior to a lot of these things we had, and was able to come away with a good result. So but it's what's mandated, and you deal with it, and do the best you
Safety first.
So we know everybody remembers you winning the Daytona 500 in '90, passing Dale Earnhardt on the last lap. I mean, obviously, that's got to be a feat in itself, beating Dale Earnhardt. But can you tell us about Dover? I mean, a lot of people don't remember I think you were 3 laps down, if I'm not mistaken.
No. We actually ran, pretty strong all day long. And at one point, we were, if I remember, I mean, we were pretty much not a lap ahead, but I mean, we were a long ways from, close to the lead, right? We had a lot of space, to work with a lot of tracks. So what happened was, Buddy, ran me out of gas, and I came down, and I think it ran out on the back straightaway coming off of 2, I believe, and had to coast in. But when I came out, I mean, I got into pit road, we got fuel in it, and got fired off and took off. And I did not actually go a lap down. I came out within a few car lengths of getting lapped,
nice.
But I was able to, to drive away and come all the way back around, and actually made, almost an entire lap, to get back to where I was, really close to the top 5 or top 10 again. And then of course the caution come, and we were able to get it back on sequence. But, really, we really had a really great race car that race. We only had enough money that year to run like Hendrick engines for 10 races. We won Daytona with a Keith Dorton engine. Randy Dorton was the head engine builder for Hendrick, and that was his brother. And we won Daytona with that, but we ran our own engines a lot of the time during the year because we only had enough money for about 10 races as Hendrick engines. But Dover was one that we had a Hendrick engine in, and we had really good power, and the car was really proficient that day. Buddy had a really good setup, and Dover's just been one of those places where you can just drive exceptionally hard. And at that time, I was, on bias ply tires, and I'm driving the wheels off the thing, and the tires are smoking, and you're just, car's got a lot of rotation in it because of the stagger and all the things. And, it just suits my driving style. And, you got to manipulate a race car at Dover, and I was able to do those things. And, I got to the end, and, finally I had to run Rusty down. I mean, I think he was a straightaway ahead of me, and I physically had to, set sail. I did away with, I think it was Schrader and Mark Martin there. And then I just set sail for Rusty and ran him down, and then just drove away. And, Buddy kept telling me to slow down, you're smoking the tire. I said, well, Buddy, I'm not abusing this thing, and so it was just probably one of the most rewarding races for us, because Dover is, such a difficult place to race, 500 laps around. Now we only run 400, and it's still a chore. But to run that race and to win in the manner in which we did, I think it really solidified the fact that we we weren't a one-hit wonder. We could win races in Winston Cup, and we proved it that day.
That's funny because that when you said that, it just brought that whole situation up with Days of Thunder of no man, I'm not running fast. Everybody else is running slower.
Yeah.
That's why they kind of brought that up when you said that. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, sometimes like the old adage of got to slow down to go fast, and really is true. I mean, you just got to drive within yourself, and and it's just one of those places that's always suited me, and we always ran well there, and it's tough to have a great race car to win there. I mean, it takes so many things.
Any advice for tomorrow night's Cup Series race? That for me in that 00 Starcom car.
It's obviously. I mean, I've ran iRacing there at Dover. And it's a tough place to run. In iRacing and EA Sports. So I don't I don't know what I could tell you to help you, because it really is different. But it really is, to me, Dover's always been a rhythm racetrack. And, you really just got to really kind of get a feel for not overdriving the car and trying to get, not oversteering the thing, right? And trying to find a rhythm to get the car rotated in the center and drive straight up out of the corner and then drive up the banking, So really you just got to move your eyes. And, that's the one thing I've always been good at, is always just, moving my eyes and looking where I want to go, and, letting the car have its head. And that's what you got to do at Dover, right? It is one of those rhythm places. And, you just got to get used to dropping off the cliff and getting off in the bottom, loading the thing up, and getting it directional. And I love
agree.
that about that place. I love it.
Mike, your turn.
No, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's like it's actually kind of really nice to actually, I've heard a lot about you. Now I get to actually meet you. I mean, just to hear the thoughts of from the 1990 500 to the new gen cars and all that's in between, to hear the different experiences that you had to, because there is a learning curve all the way through it. And it's just great to hear that that what you've been through to get where you've gotten to today at this point, and being where you're at.
Well, I think that the big thing is, you're always going to have change. And I think the key is being able to adapt, and find a way to, overcome the obstacles. And I think, initially, I think it was the radial tire from the bias ply tire. That was a big change in motorsports, and took a lot, the way the cars drove and how picky they were. And, the development in the tires finally, because they were just, the load factors so short and on radial compared to a bias ply. And then, as we progressed, obviously with splitters and, the platforms change, and, shock absorbers were changing, and, and then it became a real aero, menagerie. I think
Right.
so much of it became about, pitch attitude and maintaining platforms, and, manipulating those things with, coil binding and, pigtailing and all the different aspects, that have come through this. And it really is a tribute to all the engineers and the guys and, the crew chiefs that, get stimulated by all of this, obstacles that are thrown at them, and they find ways to overcome it, try to get the car out of the air. It's just been an enjoyable, I think, time to go through all those things. And now, here you are with a next gen car, you're going to have a wider tire, a wider footprint,
One lug nut.
I mean, that's the biggest thing right now. Is the biggest problem, I think, right now, is just, getting the rack and pinion steering to give the feel that the drivers are looking for, because, you got a lot more, footprint on the ground. The car is going to be, a lot pickier, and we just got to find that sense of feel for the drivers. And I think that'll be the biggest obstacle probably initially here. The car shows speed. The coach, I mean, it has a lot of unique aspects about it, with four-way adjustable shocks, and the uprights, and the transaxle, and the sequential shifters, and, exciting new things, right? Which always, for me, I think, it's exciting to have something different, right? But it is does not come without obstacles and costs, and a lot of hard work, because cream rises to the top, you're going to get, you don't want to get outworked. So you're going to have to be diligent and get a fresh start at it.
So
now we're going to change the convo. Sorry, Bobby, I don't mean to cut you off. I just kind of want to change the speed a little bit. So I know you're a busy man, and I know that you have a lot going on. But I mean, obviously, Bobby, which is with here tonight. I mean, that 00, him and Charlie have been working together. I mean, so what do you think? Do you think you could actually? I mean, I know you've heard a little bit about what's going on, and just briefly about in the league and this and that. Do you think he could actually sweep it all in the playoffs? Because I know he's working on 7 straight wins now. He's about ready to seal off the championship. He's about ready to seal off the playoffs as a whole. And do you think it can be done? You think someone being of a video game of this status, and of everybody that's involved, do you think that it can be done? Can it be at Dover?
You're asking me?
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Derrike. Yes. Because there's nothing. Because Bobby he signed.
Obviously, I think if a guy is that proficient and has won that many championships, I think it bodes very well. I mean, certainly Dover is one of those places that if you have a real feel for, you can really make a lot of inroads there and run away with something if you really have a good feel for the place. And you take a look at like a guy like Jimmy Johnson, where you start looking at the same kind of I guess critiquing of it, right? I mean, the guy's won that many championships, and Dover was the place that he shined at, right? And when he went there, he was a force to be reckoned with. And so certainly I think Bobby's had that kind of success and in a position where he showcases his potential every week and has won that many championships. And I mean the opportunity there is definitely a possibility, a real possibility.
Oh, I agree. Well, I mean, I'm Bobby's teammate, so I mean, I follow. I mean, Bobby has taken me from okay driver to a top contender and the long
top 4
run.
driver.
Yeah, I mean that's just to show that that leadership's there. But it's just great to have him part of the Starcom crew and to be able to drive that 00 and that's all I think. I'm glad to have you here and all your knowledge. I mean, what else, Bobby? What else you got, buddy?
All right, so Charlie Langenstein's in the chat. So he's saying we've been here since the beginning. So Derrike, if you want to say something to Charlie, here's your chat.
Oh, here we go.
Here's my shot.
Talk to Charlie.
I have to commend Charlie. I mean, obviously he's really been with us since the infancy of our race team, a very integral part of what we do. The shop foreman, he oversees, him and Ken, pretty much oversee the organization, and he's relentless. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys where there's no give up in him, and he won't settle for mediocrity. And that's what I love about him. I've always been, that way myself. I'm not going to get outworked, and I'm not going to, I'm going to do what it takes. And, with whatever funds or whatever, resources or equipment I have, I'm going to do the best that I can do with it. Right. And not have a lot of give up. And Charlie is pretty much that same way. And that's why, I lean on him, to a great degree. He really does. He is the backbone of what we do. And, Ken Glen is same thing with the fabrication department. They're there on Saturdays and whatever it takes to go the extra mile. And it's always good to have a few guys like that you always can lean on, right? And they won't settle. And that's what Charlie Langenstein is. That's
if you don't mind me asking, how'd you guys actually meet? How'd you actually guys get their relationship started for this?
Well, I think actually, I mean, I think it was Tony Furr that that brought Charlie to us and the opportunity to sit down with him. And obviously he had a great deal of experience through the years from up north, obviously what he did, in some of the early years, and then obviously with Hendricks. So just, has a plethora of knowledge, and it was an instant yes. I knew that he was somebody that we needed, and in the infancy of our program, it was difficult to get quality people that would be willing to come to our organization because, we were, fresh. Nobody knew our owners. We had just leased a charter and we're trying to procure one. And so there was a lot of uncertainty, and, I think to get a couple key personnel guys, that with that kind of knowledge was instrumental. And obviously it helped to, I think, elevate, the process and make people want to come here. And, when you got guys like that are that respected in the industry.
So we've got a couple people in the chat. Morgan Vans, who's one of our sponsors, he's actually in Daytona right now.
That's Marcus.
He's saying, if you win the 500, what are you going to do?
What am I going to do if I win the 500?
Yeah. Dwayne says party.
Yeah, right.
Wife.
Yeah, well,
Fire martinis.
I guarantee you that, I would definitely, one thing I probably wouldn't do is I probably won't do a lot of burnouts, simply because I'm old school, and I would probably just turn around and grab the flag and bring it to victory lane. And I don't think I would be doing much more than that. I want that baby intact, and bring her to victory lane. Yeah, just take her home and take care of the old girl because she obviously, if we win, she's taking care of us, and dance with my wife, and let my wife feel victory lane, and that's something that is another reason why I really wanted to do this was just for her and I to end it, in a way that we got to do it for ourselves, and we got to do it, the way we want to do it, and that was prepare a car for ourselves, go down there, and have fun and us enjoy it together. And I think that's really what it's about. And Mike and Matt and Bill, they've allowed us to do that. So we're going to absorb everything we can down there and enjoy that week. And come what may, when it's over, and we'll have pictures and memories, and there's a lot to be said for that.
Oh, definitely. Oh no, those kind of things when it comes to, because I've been there. I mean, when you finally, lock yourself down, you want those memories, you want that family, you want all those wonderful things that is brought to you, that has been gifted to you by all the hard work that you've accomplished throughout the years. So I can definitely understand that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate, I've won races, I've sat on pole, and, I've, she hasn't experienced a lot of that with me, and, but, this is at least, the big show, and we're going to go to the 500 and do it together and have fun. And, my brother's coming down, he and my father weren't there at the first 500 that I won. And, my brother's coming down for it. And, I'm excited. I think it's just going to be kind of a family affair.
Nice.
That's awesome. So Dave's saying, hey, Derrike, thanks for being on the show. As a fan, not a driver, what is your favorite NASCAR memory?
My favorite NASCAR memory.
Oh.
Not as a driver, as a fan.
As a fan. Well, I think probably it came down to 1983. I had won the late model sportsman championship, and Jackie Johnson, my crew chief at that time from Campobello and Inman, South Carolina, we got a free trip from late model sportsman in Winston, RJR, to come to Daytona. And we were out in the infield, sitting out there as a fan, watching practice and all of that. And then we went to the stands to watch qualifying and sat in turn 4. And, when Cale, that was the year that Cale flipped on his qualifying lap over 200.
Yeah.
And came back with the backup car that ended up winning the race. And that 1983 probably was the biggest impact on me. And I swore then, sitting in the stands, that I was coming back to race at Daytona, and I was going to win the Daytona 500, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me. And I think that was a defining moment for me, was 1983 at Daytona.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I remember, actually, it's funny because I'm a little bit older than Bobby, so I remember that incident.
So now since we're back to Daytona, how was it racing against the movie cars from Days of Thunder?
Well, looking back, obviously, those guys were, at the back of the pack just getting footage, and they weren't going to be there all race long. But it was really, at the time, you knew they were there and you knew what was going on, but I knew how good a race car I had, and I was pretty much all business that weekend. And Buddy was going over a lot of things, drumming a lot of things in my head, and we just had a plan, and we were focused on getting to the end of that race. We knew we had the car to do it, and we just had to, position ourselves. And so looking back, now, I mean, obviously, all the footage in Days of Thunder was of the race that I won, so
Right.
that's kind of a fun tidbit, for, my stepdaughters and, their boyfriends and, everybody that, you discuss things about and that really don't, know that much about the sport even. Right. But yeah, I mean, it was a special, deal. And, to have won that race and then go do Letterman. I mean, as a special time because the racing, the sport was being embraced by, Hollywood and, the PGA professionals and country music and everything. And so it was really a special time in the sport. And for me to be able to have, raced against some of the greats through the 80s, I mean, basically I've raced against, the greats and the Hall of Famers in the sport. I drove for Bobby and Cale, for their race teams. And so, really, I couldn't really ask for a better career. It's really been a godsend, really, and I've experienced so much, something I wouldn't change a thing about.
So with the 500 right around the corner, how is Starcom sitting as of right now?
We're positioned really well. I think the guys, Charlie and Ken and George and, all the guys have worked very diligently over we started on our speedway cars in October, which was a novelty for a young race team, a small team like ourselves. But we've worked hard. I think we got, 4 complete cars sitting here for the speedway ready to go. We've got, the road course car is just about, ready to put an engine in it. Our Homestead car is on the final stages. Engine's already in it. We're putting an engine in the Phoenix car probably tomorrow or Wednesday. The Vegas Phoenix cars are right there waiting on engines. So realistically, we are in a very, very good position to be weeks ahead. And when we come back from Daytona, we'll have pretty much the West Coast swing all ready to go. And so I feel like we're positioned and prepared as best we could for, the size of our organization.
Oh, and you got to admit, Dick, that's an incredible accomplishment just to have that West Coast swing almost all set for you guys to ready to go. I mean, that's not an easy swing to run.
No, and a good thing about it is we've really updated our cars. We've put new bodies on, the newer Camaro body, and we've really elevated our program for Quinn. I feel like that, the things steps we took at the end of last year, we ran, the new cars at certain places like, Texas and Phoenix and places, and, just trying to really kind of prove or disprove some balance issues and some things there. And so, we made a lot of changes over the winter. We put new bodies on, and, I feel like that we've done a lot of things right, and hopefully we can showcase that here, right at the beginning of the year and fire off well.
You think Quinn's going to be able to take the momentum that he had at the end of last year without the practice and the qualifying and keep his momentum going into 2021?
I believe so. I think the one thing, youth, the kids are resilient, and I think that, he really, I think he didn't really know what to expect. And I think now he has realistic expectations. And I think now I think knows what's expected of him. He knows what the, obstacles are. He knows what things have to be done. And I think that, he's very diligent now with his sim program and working on SMT and really trying to find what it's going to take to, come out and be the best he can be, again, without any practice, so he's been there now. He's been to all those places. So, again, I got to believe that, that's a very, very much a positive for him. And I feel like he's in a good place with it.
So Dwayne brought this up, and I actually was going to bring it up too. Can you tell us about 2016 at Watkins Glen when you blew a tire and it just disintegrated the hood?
Yeah, that's when we were running our Xfinity program and we didn't have a lot of equipment, and we were, running a car or two, that's about all we had, and we ended up having an issue in the race where the caliper, the bolts on the brake brackets, broke, and the caliper cocked sideways, and I felt the thing. I'd gotten a vibration, so I knew I'd probably broken one earlier, and then going off into turn one there, it broke all of it, and it cocked the caliper sideways, and the thing just, I had no brakes and very limited, and a massive vibration. And next thing I know, I managed to, get it through one, and I coaxed it all the way down the back straightaway, and the thing was, just, I knew I had to get the thing stopped and wound down. And I got to the chicane there, and I just pulled off and brought it to a halt. And I think it had built so much heat that when I stopped, all the heat sink blew the sidewall out of the tire, and all the the air just rushed to the other side of the car, and then it looked for a way to get out, and it just, it tore the nose and the hood off the car and the fender, and it just exploded. And it stunned me just because I didn't know, here I was, I got this thing, didn't wreck, going off into one, saved it, got it all there and stopped. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, self, did a good job there. And then it blows the front end off the thing, and I was more irritated and pissed off, about it, because I knew I had to race that thing next week, but it was just air. And, fortunately, we were able to put a nose right back on it and didn't really have much damage, and was able to race it the next week. But, visually it was quite, quite dynamic, and, obviously scared my wife, and, certainly didn't really alarm me at all. But, yeah, it definitely stunned you for a second.
Well, if you think back then, Derrike, that was one of the major things back in those days, was that inner wall of that tire melting down from the heat from the rotors and stuff like that, from the brakes. So I mean, yeah, I could see where that would be. Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't in the Xfinity series. We weren't, we didn't have a lot of money, and we weren't really having the best bead blowers, or having the best, ways to cool everything, and we were doing the best we could, and we were taking, we didn't have a road course car. That was pretty much an intermediate car, so,
right.
We really were, not at, the best capabilities. Right. So, but yeah, when you have, running used parts, and you're, you're really at the mercy of cycles, and you don't know how many cycles that stuff has. And when it fails, it normally is catastrophic.
So I know we brought this up earlier, but I gotta ask. So can you tell us about Ringo?
Ringo, yeah. Well, we've had quite a few conversations about Ringo. It was a raccoon that we had as a pet for 14 years when I was growing up. And remarkable animal. We had it since it was just a little kitten you could hold in the palm of your hand. And my mother, nursed it, and, it became a real fixture in the family. And, it would go to our baseball games, and it would go to the golf matches and all the things that we did. My mother would bring it, and, it was the talk of the, of the town there, but, yeah, it would sit on my dad's head and watch TV, and,
the rabbit
reach down there and, bite him on the nose, and, jack with him a little bit, and, he was pretty entertaining. He was pretty entertaining. You just do the one thing you did want to do was take his marshmallows away. If you took his marshmallows away, you're about ready to get a butt whooping,
Yeah, so, just like this little guy.
Yeah, the mascot.
But so Mike, I'm gonna let you ask a couple more questions, because I'm sure you have them, and then we're gonna go right to the questions that all the fans are blowing the chat up in.
Actually, no, Derrike's actually done a great job on covering what I was kind of interested in hearing, the difference between the 1990 to now, to the whole 9 yards. That's actually what I was really interested in, is that learning curve of you going from regular carburetors to fuel injection to digital dashes to the whole 9 yards. And he's covered everything I got. So I mean, no, let the fans ask, please.
So John Carroll wants to know. He said, first of all, good luck in the 500 this year.
Thank you.
And what is it like to race against Davey Allison, Alan Kowicki, and Dale Earnhardt?
Well, like I said, I got to start at this, at a very, relatively young age myself back in the early 80s. So, I raced against a lot of guys. It's tough. You don't want to leave anybody out. But I mean, you're racing against Bobby and Donnie and Buddy Baker and Tim Richmond and Kyle Petty and Richard Petty and Cale and you think about all the other guys. There's just so many. Neil Bonnet. Harry Gant. Alan Kowicki, Davey Allison. I mean, you can just go through the who's who of stock car racing. And, I pretty much started with those guys and, Darrell and Dale and, you just can't leave anybody out because I raced with them all. The JD McDuffies, the Buddy Arrington, the Elmo Langleys. I've been with all those guys. Jim Testa gave me my opportunity there in 88, and a guy from the West Coast, Fred Stoke, gave me a chance in 87, to go to my first Daytona 500. But I've raced against a lot of great guys, and they're all so unique in the way that they dealt with things and, how funny they were. I mean, the Harry Gantz, who was a big prankster, and just, I flew on a lot of airplanes with Neil, and we did a lot of Race of Champions things with Michael and other guys and Sterling, and just the camaraderie and all the things that we got to do. I mean, we just don't see that anymore. And obviously with the way the times are now, there's a reason why, but still those are just lost times. And for me, one that I've relished every moment that I've experienced through that time. And, it's just something that, really what life's all about is having those memories of all of those unique individuals. And some of them we've lost and, some, are still here. And it's just a lot of great guys, you go back, Rick Mast and Bobby Hillen and, Eddie Bierschwale. I mean, you just talk about all the guys. Just go through and look at the old books and I know them all. And they're great, great individuals. And I've loved every moment that I've had racing with those guys and, been blessed.
So Dwayne just posted and put, who had the best hair in the garage back in the day?
Oh, here we go.
Hands down is me.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know. I guess it depends on what you like. Kyle had the big wild hair. I had, the big perm looking hair with a little bit of a,
with a mustache.
Yeah, with a mustache, so I don't know, you know what I mean? Everybody's so unique. Everybody's so uniquely different, you know what I mean? And back then, you had, the guys that had normal haircuts, and wingtips from Marcus and, and everybody, then there's guys like Kyle who was out there and, all the mullets and, all the mustaches. So, yeah, it was quite a time, And then you had Tim Richmond, right? So
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Dwayne said mane and tail helped.
Yeah, mane and tail. Yeah, it did actually. I was very fortunate to have Mane and Tail shampoo as a sponsor. I needed that for that permed hair.
Hey, I can agree with that. Mane and Tail does have a great product. I actually use it, and I swear by it.
Yeah, I use it every day. So yeah, they've been, Devin and that whole group up there. They've been a stable fixture in the sport for a long time, and they started there with us at Bobby Allison Motorsports, and ironically, Mike and Matt Kohler are related, to the gentleman that actually was running it at that time in '94-ish. And, we're so pleased and thankful that they're still involved with us in the manner in which they do. They're big supporters of ours. They're just super people. We love them to death. And, obviously we're excited about the fact that they're going to be on Quinn's car, the 00 for Daytona. And they're going to come spend the time with us down there. And, they're just they're just really true friends, and we just relish the relationship.
Well-
As we always said, and I preach it even through our league, it's a family. It's an we are together to accomplish one thing, and that is to give something back to everything. And actually, really, that's what we do in racing. We give back to everybody that enjoys it and wants to be part of it.
It's about relationships. It always has been. I think if you lose sight of that, then you're misguided. And we've always, the one thing, I'm still friends with Carroll and Sue Warner, who was the president of Pure Later that gave me the opportunity. And, we spent a lot of time seeing them. And, I still to this day, we speak with Jim Malone, who's the CEO of Pure Later. And, he's battling some health issues in Naples. And we always, thinking of him and, and our thoughts and prayers with him. And but yeah, it's really about relationships and maintaining those. And so to still have those with Mane and Tail, and I still have them with Gary, Randy Poindexter at Bojangles, and they sponsored me a few years back there at Darlington for the throwback, and now Mane and Tail, and it's very rewarding to still have people that were back there 30 years ago and still participating.
What was your favorite paint scheme through all the races that you've ran?
Well, obviously Pure Later, I think, very iconic, in my opinion. A lot of people, might disagree or whatever, but, I think if you look at all the, the 90s, when all the paraphernalia and all the cards and, all the action figures and all the die casts and, all the transports, all the stuff, right? It was just very unique with that rocket red Dayglow color. And at that time, that was, an intriguing thing for the young kids. And I think it really just set a precedent, and I think obviously for me, winning Daytona and Dover, probably, my favorite paint scheme.
So Derrike, it's been almost an hour. I wasn't expecting it to be this long. I was actually trying to cut it at 45 so you could go enjoy your night.
Yes. Yeah.
But I appreciate you jumping in.
Enjoy.
I really do. And hopefully you and Alicia will tune in tomorrow for the cup race that we have at Dover.
It's the final.
Yep.
Final four.
All right. Well, we'll be pulling for you.
Thank you. And Charlie says, how about the rabbit, Bobby? Does he use mane and tail?
Yeah.
I can't with him.
He looks fluffy.
I tell you, Charlie definitely is a character, and I love it.
Yeah, he is.
But I greatly appreciate it, Derrike, and good luck at Daytona, and good luck with Starcom this year. And I'll be pulling for you guys.
Well, I appreciate that. It was great to have the supporters like yourselves, and we're very appreciative of that. And we're going to be pulling for you as well, and we'll continue to move forward on that front as well. So thank you so much for tonight.
Well, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate everything.
All right, sounds good. You guys have a great remainder of the evening.
You
Thank
too.
you.
All right, take care.
You too. All right, Mike.
Yes, sir.
So now we talk about the week in review.
Oh my God, dude! After that interview, it's like I'm totally spent even after that interview.
I love, dude. I'm telling you, I love it. I love the fact that we got Derrike on. That was a great interview. We were able to talk about everything and anything. We even talked about his pet raccoon. You guys got to see the Bun, which obviously I wasn't going to show you, but he hopped up in my lap. So it was like, wait here.
Yeah. I don't know what you can do about that. And then, of course, well, you got Charlie. Well, he's going to jump right onto that.
So talking about last night, Kyle Petrie wins the championship. Loho finishes rookie of the year, and absolutely phenomenal show. I actually have, and I want to show you guys this picture, because this picture was sent to me yesterday or last night, late last night. I'm telling you, I don't know how, but look at this finish. This was the finish for stage 1.
Oh yes, actually I got that same. Yes, Bobby, I was gonna say I got that same. Yeah, I mean these guys here, they put it all on the line, Bobby. They knew that what it was at stake. They knew what they had to do. It was either make it, and the top 4 hung within the top 4 positions all night long.
Yep.
I mean, there was no way we could call anything until we finally had the final results.
Right, and like Charlie said, we talked to Charlie. He brought it up. We are Seat Time Driving School is going to be giving away that prize to Kyle. So now tomorrow it comes down to the Cup guys. Obviously, all I have to do is finish the first stage in the top 5. Top 10. If I finish in the top 10, which should happen, I end up winning the championship. That'll be 6 in a row. 1, 2. Whoever finishes second in the playoffs gets the driving school, because Charlie turns around and surprises me when I say, "Hey, I'm going to give my driving school experience to second place." He throws it out there and says, "Hey, we're giving you one too."
Yeah, I got some work to do going into that one. That's for sure.
So I'll actually give you guys the rundown on the points real quick. So we have myself at 22,035. Dave's at 2137. Oh, hold on. This thing didn't load. Okay, I'm at 2354. Dave is at 2219. Brian, that ain't right either. That's Talladega. You have the updated points.
Oh, and I can't.
And you can't pull it up. So anyways, so the points are very close. It's only like 3 points.
It's like all I know is that, folks, that at this point I am sitting in 4th spot. I am 22 points out of that second place spot.
Well, give me a second. I'm gonna try to reel this in real quick.
I think you got it in right there. That's all I know is I know I got to do 22 points.
All right, so I am at 2413. Dave's at 2268. Brian's at 2263, and Mike is at 2240. Mike literally, and I'm not kidding when I say literally, finished 4th by 2 points over Ron Brown. Like, it was that close.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what we can do with this time. It may not be a done deal, but I mean, I'm going to give it all I got. It's I never give up. Last lap, no matter what, it don't matter. I never stop. We continue until it's over.
So, as you guys know, we're going to have, as of right now, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Puddin'. It's going to be Ty of Hazard. And I believe if he gets off work early enough, Dwayne's going to go up in the booth with these guys. And obviously, you guys know Dwayne works for Starcom. And actually, while we're talking about this.
Oh, there we go. I was waiting for this excitement announced.
Dwayne raced in the development series, and he loved it. He loved it so much that he is going to give a $50 prize to the champion of the development series. And Rookie of the Year is going to get a $25 gift certificate or gift card or gift money or whatever he ends up doing. Yeah. It's going to be $50.
It's a done deal. It's sealed. You know, these guys, I'm sorry, Bob, I didn't mean to cut you off because I get excited because it's my development series and development. You know, these guys have put on a show. They've worked hard. And this wasn't a done deal until last week when Dwayne raced with the development series. They convinced him, or they worked with him, and that's where this all came about, is because of their hard work. That's what I'm getting at.
So, guys, like I said, we're super excited about this. You guys don't want to miss tomorrow night's episode. Like, super excited about it. And
yeah, I'm a little puckered up. I'm a little.
Oh, and Dwayne said plus personal apparel.
Oh, wow.
He just posted that in the chat.
A bonus we didn't even know about.
So, like I said, guys, I just tune in tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be huge. Obviously, if I can win the championship, that's 6 in a row. Let's see if I can go out and finish and sweep the whole playoffs. That's never been done in any league, 1. 2, winning 6 playoffs in a row is not easy. And I will tell you this right now, and Mike can vouch for this. These guys have stepped up their game tremendously to the point where I'm running like 3rd or 4th in the towards those end of the races, and all of a sudden I pull it out.
Yeah, you've been good. Yeah, I mean, I gotta admit, Bobby, you've ran your races. You've done what you need to do. Now, at this point, I mean, I'm not looking. Don't get this wrong when I say this. I'm not looking at you now. I'm looking at that 2nd spot. I mean, by all rights, I probably can't do it because of the fact of the way the situation looks with points wise. But I'll tell you right now, it's not like I'm not going to give it everything at, and I'm not just so shabby at Dover.
Yeah, like I said, guys, super excited about this. Tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern. You guys aren't going to want to miss it. Mike, with that being said,
Yep.
we're gonna call it a night, and
I
we will
agree.
see you all tomorrow. Mike, you and I are going to be in the booth at the end of the race for obviously championship reasons, being the final 4. With that being said, thank you guys, and y'all have a great night.
Thank you for everyone.
And like I said, Derrike, thank you again for being on the show. I know you're not here, but I'm sure Alicia's still watching.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
thank you very much, and we greatly appreciate both of you. And Alicia, get a hold of me because I'd like to have you on the show as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. That would be fun.
So with that being said, y'all have a good night.